Hey guys, in today's episode of Discovering Lost Ark, we're gonna take a look at the skill system in the game. I'm gonna explain it to you. I'm gonna give you a couple of classes as an example. We're gonna talk about the differences, we're gonna talk about the LAS, and I'm generally gonna tell you why I'm so excited about the skill system. One of the things that are my favorite things in Lost Ark is the class customization and the skill system in general, how you can use it to your advantage, what are the options, and how cool is it that you actually have the realistic choice of playing more than one build and being actually viable with it. If you want to know more about the classes or each class in particular or how they work on a basic level, I have so many other episodes of Discovering Lost Ark that are worth watching. By the way, if you don't know me, my nickname is Saivo, coming from a lifetime of Aeon, now very in love with Lost Ark. So I have a lot of Discovering Lost Ark in which I tell you basic things about the game to prepare you, to show you a couple of more things, to explain to you prior to the game's release for us in the West, as at the moment of this video the game is not out for us yet. So let's get into the skill system, guys. Please consider subscribing to my channel as well. The skill system is a very intriguing one, not very hard but very intriguing. One of the reasons why I like it so much. You have 8 skills of your choice at one specific time to customize, plus your elite, plus your innate skill that is specific for each class here in the middle. On the right hand side of your bar you have a 2 potion slots, yeah, and then another 3 slots for other combat items about which we're not going to talk in this video because that's another completely different story, yeah. So this is how it kind of looks. You have 8 skills to use at the same time, plus your elite, plus your innate. That is the bottom line, the basic thing about it. Obviously you have a variety of presets that you can set, because as I was saying at the beginning of the video, in this game Lost Ark you actually have the realistic opportunity and the realistic chance to play, and you kinda need to play a variety of builds depending on the content that you do. You do open world, you're just grinding. Of course you're gonna take some massive, stupid, crazy AoEs. You play 1v1 PvP, of course you're gonna make your build for 1v1 encounters. You play 3v3 PvP, of course you're gonna take it a little bit more spammy, a little bit more, you know, AoE, because there's 3 people there. You play this particular raid, first raid in tier 2 boss, in tier 2 section, you're gonna play one build. 4th raid in tier 4 section, you're gonna play another build, and so on and so forth. It's not about the build, it's about the content, and it's about how you feel on it. If you cannot cast 2 of your skills because you always get hit, obviously you should take those skills away and put something instant, because then your performance is gonna go higher instead of being hindered by you using that skill because it's so much OP damage but you're actually not using it, or you're dying while you're using it. So that's being said, a fantastic idea. Now let's get into the training zone, guys. I am in the training zone where you can spec your skills as you want, you can change them, you can move them around, just for me to show you how the skills interact with your choices. So I'm on my blaster for the time being, and let's just take this example, this skill. If I want to unlock all of these 3 rows, so I can set one specific property to a skill from each row, which obviously improves not only the fact that the skill gets extra properties that I choose, it also improves the skill damage. If you look in the tooltip of this skill, it does at the moment, with 10 points assigned to it, 6,476 damage. Now if I would take 1 point from here, which is not actually 1 skill point, it is 12 skill points, because going from 9 to 10 requires 12 actual skill points, then the damage of the skill is going to be lower, as you see in the tooltip. So how do you get these skill points? You get them from leveling up, you also get them from quests and other places in the world, such as map completion, yeah. Cool. Obviously the skills that you like the most and your most powerful skills or your most impactful skills need to be tiered up to 10. You can also select to go to 7 points here unlock you the second row, and then if you go to 4 points here unlock you just the first row, yeah. Cool. Let's take a skill as an example so you can see what I mean by customization, and different skills do different things as you customize them. For example, this skill called Rocket Barrage, I have it on the key W. If I just press it, then the skill is just going to fire rockets wildly with the things that I have set up for it here. If I change, for example, from the flame rocket to the cold rocket property, let's just reset cooldowns and use unlimited cooldowns. If I do this, then the skill is not going to be yellow anymore or orange. The skill is going to actually look whitish, blue, coldish. So it does give an indication, for example in PvP, it does give an indication to your opponent that, hey, you know, that guy has glyphed the cold rocket for his rockets. That means he does not have the flame rocket, nor does he have the giant rocket. If I select the giant rocket, then you will see that the skill is again yellow, but the rocket size is much larger. This is definitely something for PvP, for example, yeah, in which you don't want to leave a lot of room for your opponents to dodge in between your missiles in that sense. So there are some things that are for PvP and there are some things that are for PvE, right? For example, we take the cold rocket and we change the second line in this skill. We use quick shell fire, for example, and you'll see what's gonna happen. So the rockets are blue, but the firing speed is much higher. So if you want to give up the stun effect for the skill, then to get the fastness of the rockets of the launching, then that's what you're gonna do for specific situations if that's what you want to do. Lastly, for example, instead of rockets, we can select to have lasers. Yeah. Again, a laser that is blue because it's a cold rocket, and a laser that's gonna be red if we select the flame rocket, for example. There you go. So these are things that you can do with many of these skills. It's not like it's only this skill. For example, there is other skills like the Flamethrower Skill. Let me just quickly find the Flamethrower Skill, add it here to my bar. In terms of the Flamethrower Skill, we add 10 points into it. You can do a lot of things with it. For example, we're just gonna look here for the purpose of this video. This Flamethrower Skill, the cast is long and the flames actually look like they are fiery flames. If I would select this blue flame, which not only changes the color of my flames but also adds casting speed to my whole thing, obviously it does fewer damage, but you get to do the whole cast on a player before the player can react, for example. So there are, or on a boss in a raid that is very fast, very agile. You're not gonna have time to stand there in a raid, maybe in all the raids, just look at your cast for like 9 seconds while you're finishing it. So it depends on the class, it depends on the skill. Let me just, Blaster in general is a pretty straightforward class, so I don't want to talk more about blasters in terms of skill customizations. Let me just quickly swap on over to my destroyer so I can show you guys how other classes work, because there are many other things in the game that interact with your gameplay and with your skill builds. So as a destroyer, you're going to have to think a little bit differently on the game. If you see here in the destroyer section, in the destroyer skill section, there are blue skills and there are purple skills. Now, the difference in between Blaster and Destroyer, because these are the two examples for today's video, is that Blaster is a straightforward class. Blaster does not have any skills that give you something to use other skills. Other classes do have that. Other classes have skills that gather up some bubbles here in the middle, or that gather up stack some runes on the target, and then you can use other skills. As a Blaster you don't have that, but as a Destroyer you do. So the main logic in terms of building your skill build on the Destroyer is that you use blue skills to gather energy for the skills that are purple. Let me just summon a dummy here so I can actually show you guys. For example, yeah, this is a dummy, and right now I'm just gathering these bubbles here in the middle. I have 2, and then when I'm gonna have 3, as I do now, these purple skills are going to be highlighted, and obviously all of the other purple skills that might be on my bar, because that's what I chose, are going to be highlighted. It's not like I cannot use a purple skill without having blue I don't know how to call them, blue balls here, I can use them definitely. This is a purple skill on my quick bar, yeah. But the point is that the purple skills do a lot more damage and a lot more what they do if you have this gauge filled up with 3 bubbles. If you have it filled up with 2 bubbles, they're gonna do less damage than they would with 3, and so on and so forth. So the basic raw idea of a destroyer compared to a blaster is that you press blue skills to get bubbles as fast as possible, and then you use these purple skills, which are absolutely amazing for amazing effects. There are purple skills on the destroyer skill set which are more for PvE, and there are purple skills which are more for PvP in that sense, glyphing them in specific ways. For example, this seismic hammer from the destroyer, which I have bound on my D, you can select it here to look like this in front of you, or let's just unlimited cooldowns, or you can select it to look like this all around you. It is different depending on the type of content that you do. If you know that you're always going to be facing a one raid boss and you want to use this skill, then definitely you're gonna select the frontal one. If you know that you're gonna be in a dungeon where mobs are out of your control and they might be on the sides and behind you, then obviously you're gonna do the one that's all around you. The same for PvP. You don't know where your opponent is gonna juke you when they're gonna see you using that skill in front, but if it's all around you, if they're at your back, they're still gonna take the damage, and that is the point. The same goes for other destroyer skills, like for example this purple skill right here. You can select it to be an instant skill. It's bound on my E right here, like this. It is an instant skill, or you can select it to be a cast, a charge up skill that does obviously a lot more damage, but it is a charge and you need to prepare for it, you need to have time to charge it, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it depends how you want to play your class, and it depends what you want to do. You're in PvP or you're in PvE. Various other skills from the destroyer, for example this particular skill right here, which I don't have on my bar, but we're gonna add it here on Q. This skill right here can be glyphed, for example, to 75% chance of getting you not only 1 bubble but 2 here. And if I press this skill, I already got the 75% chance to get 2 bubbles. So obviously this builds bubbles a lot faster, and I get to 3, and then I cast the skill, and then I cast the skill, the purple skill, with 3 bubbles on, which gives me the improved effect. So this is kind of the difference in that sense in between that class and the other. Obviously other classes have a lot of other different things that they can do and that they can spec for, but this is kind of how it works in terms of skill system in Lost Ark. That's all I wanted to show you guys in today's video in terms of skill system. Remember, this is not a guide, this is just basic information for you guys to see if maybe Lost Ark's skill system is something that you hate or something that you actually like, something that makes you interested in the whole thing. Yeah, cool. That's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next episode of Discovering Lost Ark. Maybe I'm gonna see you, actually I'm not gonna see you, but you're gonna see me playing PvP in between episodes of Lost Ark, and that's about it. Lots of love, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.